Waalaikumsalam. Boleh je.
Ya. Okay, we will start for today. Okay. You hear me clearly? Boleh dengar? Ya? Ashraf? You hear me clearly?
Macam tak clear sangat tu.
Tak clear sangat? Sekejap.
Ha.
Sekejap. Hmm. Sekejap. Okay. Ni dengar? Ashraf dengar ni?
Dengar tu.
Better? Kuat?
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Ni kan? Dah. Boleh?
Boleh tu.
Okay. Kalau tak clear, let me know tau. Okay. Cover I. Okay. Kita kamera jap because it's very near to me. So let's focus on what we are going to learn today. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we will start with week 1 on topic on regulation. So we are going to look at what the requirement of regulatory and how actually we would like to know the management for water and wastewater industry. Okay, this is supposed to be in our first lecture on this topic. Okay, we will start now. Okay, when you refer to your lesson plan, to hear the learning outcome, first we will look at the act and regulation implemented in Malaysia and how also it's implemented worldwide. And then we will look at environmental impact assessment. So we relate everything in water and wastewater industry and also the regulation. So that's the learning outcome number 1. Then number 2, we discuss the standard and guidelines used in water and wastewater treatment plant. Okay. So this is our main core. Yeah, to look at the water and wastewater treatment plant. So whatever that we're going to treat, yeah, the process of the treatment, we will refer to the standard and also the guideline. Yeah, here the standard and also the guideline. So our core business in this course is water and wastewater. And the third one, we will look at how we are going to apply and use environmental laws and also regulation. And the fourth one is the discussion on current issue related to environmental. Because our business, our water and wastewater industry is very much related to protect our environment. So that is our learning outcome. So by go through this slide on the our first slide, this is what you should know. Yeah. So then, by the time when you finish, you are done with the slide, you can refer to this learning outcome, look back at this learning outcome, and try to relate what you have studied. Okay, let's check. The definition of water. So we know that the water comes from rains and then flow into a stream. Then sometimes it goes to the lake and then goes to the lowest point. It goes to the sea. Then cycle back uh, in the form of rains. So this is the cycle of water. And we know that we as a human, we very much needed water. And the water, as what you can see now, the one that we drink, the one that we use, is colorless, yeah, odorless, then composed of H2O. Then we have a component of hydrogen and oxygen in the water. And yeah, when it's frozen, it's at 0 degree, and when it's boiling state, is at 100 degree. So this is the characteristic of the water. So when we know that it's important that to know the physical, the type of the water. So this is where the engineer comes. So we need to know how to treat water, to deal with water and also the wastewater. This is our part. Then, um, whereby what's the difference between water and wastewater? So what is wastewater? So after it has been used, we call the water as wastewater. So because it has been used by the human, so we call it as a wastewater. So wastewater can come from domestic, industry, commercial, or any agricultural activities, yeah? And also from the surface runoff or stormwater. So whichever that water that fall and flow into the sewer and also the drain, so we call it as a wastewater. So the aircon start now and it's very now. Boleh dengar? I telah dekatkan my because I
Boleh dulu.
try okay because I try to use other mic, it doesn't work. Dia tak boleh dua dekat desktop ni tak boleh dua. So it has to be on one apa kamera. Dia dah embedded the mic dalam kamera tu. That's no. Nanti try to call the technical person but still tak boleh solve. Right? Tak apa, bear with me. So here I'm more concerned about the internet connection. Okay, tak apa, I cakap kuat-kuat. Okay, here what is engineering? Why we need to study water and wastewater and why why it has to be in engineering field. So as we know that the engineering is consists of art or science or making practical applications. We we involve a lot on hands-on the practicals. That's why engineer ni bukan dalam macam dalam drama lah. Kan sebenarnya engineer ni berlemuih sebenarnya. Because we need to be on the side, we need to be, we work very hard, serabut kan. So dia sort of macam dia tak smart sangat lah. Dia smart in terms of the mind, the knowledge, yeah. But practically we have to be on the side. We will have a knowledge of pure sciences and we are good in physics and also chemistry, basically. So we have many engineers outside there. We have construction of engine, related work with the bridges, buildings. Some of us might involve with the chemical plants and sort of things. But still we are under engineering umbrella. Then as an engineer, when we learn engineering, so we use a lot of mathematics, yeah, empirical evidence, scientific, economic, social, and practical knowledge, yeah, in order to we need to invent, innovate, design. So all those things is problem solving. So that's what we have in civil engineering. So we are sort of orang kata apa orang yang menyelesaikan masalah. We are thinker, we are problem solver. So we have to think fast so that we are able to solve. So insyaAllah so apa yang ditakdirkan pada hari ini bila you are here, you are in this program, you are going to be a civil engineer, insyaAllah. And Allah knows very much more about the one that really good to us. Apa yang kita berada ni, kita belajar ni sebenarnya memang dah bersesuaian dengan kehidupan kita. Kalau you study yourself, definitely you can relate. Kenapa you berada di program civil engineering. Then, what is water and wastewater engineering? So we combine water and wastewater field with engineering. So we will apply a lot of maths, the evidence to do at the practical side. the empirical side, on the scientific. We also will relate with the economy, the social, and also the all those particle in water and wastewater. So we will look at the what's actually in our environment. So we're more concerned about the pollutions, the pollution that come from water, either that the water come from um, the origin, the sources of water, and also the pollution can come from wastewater. So we will look at how trigger the pollutions. We will look at the sources. Then here the four keywords that we always use in this course, to able to remove the pollutant, to able to reduce the pollution, to prevent, and also to control. So here we as engineer, so this is the four base that we need to have. We need to solve, we need to know how to remove, we need to know how to reduce, prevent, and also control. So that is our main job here. Right? Then when we have a water pollution, so we need to react.
Sorry doktor. Doktor mute ya.
Doktor, tak dengar apa-apa lah, doktor.
Sekejap, sekejap, teknikal. Bagus-bagus, let me know. Okay. Ada benda-benda ni kadang kita karate dia, tiba-tiba jatuh. Okay, then dengar? Boleh dengar?
Boleh dengar tu.
Okay, okay, jangan kalau I buka kamera nanti you all terkejut muka I sebesar desktop ni. Okay, let's go back to this topic of water pollution. So we need to know about the water pollution first before we learn about the treatment. So here, as we can see here, there's many sources of pollution. Okay, so we have sources that come from the landfills, then from the urban runoff, when the water that comes from the rains, and then it move on the surface. On the surface we have the urban runoff, water flow at the urban area, then goes to the lake. Then we have leaking on the sewer, and the pollution from the petrol station, from the oil and gas. Then we have industrial storage, contaminated land, oil spill. Then from the farms, we have pesticide and fertilizer application. So we have public or water supply, and then here we have these farming activities. We have with the manure spreading, who do the with the animals. Then we have uncovered road, salts and septic tank. So all those is the sources of the pollutions. So here, you can see this picture, whereby we have the houses nearby. This is the sources of the water, sumber air yang datang daripada sungai. And then you can see for water supply, the water itself is polluted. So how we as engineer would like to remove, reduce, that the keywords comes here. So this is the problem. So here is the problem, very complex problem. So how we're going to manage, and also to control and reduce, in order for us to provide safe and also clean water for drinking. So these are the issues that you can see here on the water pollution. As I told you, we have atmospheric depositions that come from the atmosphere itself, the rain. There we have industrial outfall that also will create pollution. These farming activities that use pesticide and also fertilizer that will be increase the potential of the contamination by with the nitrate and nitrogen substance like phosphorus fertilizer. This is will bring the contamination into the water. And also not to forget the groundwater itself. So here from the land, for anything that happen on the land, it can also contaminate the groundwater. The groundwater itself will flow into the river. Here also it will bring the contamination into the river. And sedimentations, we have that material that transported or and also deposited by a river is known as a sediment. Apa-apa material yang dibawa oleh air, dibawa dan deposited, ditinggalkan di dalam air, itu adalah kita panggil sebagai sediment. All those materials also can bring the contamination into water. So here some of the water that already polluted, then it goes back to the atmosphere as a rain. Then it keeps coming in and out with these sources of water dekat sungai ini memang kita kata memang terdedah kepada pollution. Here in Malaysia, we use surface water as our sources for drinking water. Kita surface water tu maksudnya yang kita nampak on the surface, macam sungai. Kat Malaysia kita tahu kita punya sumber air adalah datang daripada sungai. You can imagine that from this figure, this picture, kita nampak sungai itu how is easily contaminated. And then we. So siapa yang nak menjaga dan juga siapa yang akan memastikan air yang diambil di sungai ini yang selamat digunakan adalah siapa? Siapa itu? Nur Anis. Siapa? Nur Anis ke? Azira ke? Huda ke? Siapa yang bertanggungjawab yang akan melihat kepada how we are going to control the pollution so that we can treat and then it's safe to be used by the human. So kita lah yang belajar dekat dalam kos ni ECW 567. Yang ni lah kita lah, tanggungjawab kita lah nak menjaga supaya air yang kita salurkan kepada masyarakat kepada public safe to use. That's our main purpose of learning ECW 567. Okay, next on the water pollution. So here, so this is our core business in ECW 567. Yeah. So we will look at the water intake that come from stream. Yeah. Then some of the water we store in reservoir. And some of the water is taken from the wells. Ini adalah sumber yang air yang kita ambil as a raw water. Then it goes to water treatment plant. Kita akan belajar di sini proses on the water treatment plant to treat water for usage of potable water. Air bersih yang kita akan keluarkan daripada plant ini. Then we will supply, kita akan distribute. We have a water distribution system to the industry, to homes, so that it can be used safely to be used. Then from the homes and from the industry, so the water will go out as a wastewater. So bila digunakan, air itu akan dikeluarkan sebagai wastewater. Then we will flow into a sewer pipeline. Then some of the sewer ni ada yang kita kata combine, nanti kita akan belajar combine. Ada yang separate system, ada yang maksudnya ada yang directly that come from domestic, dibuat treatment terus, ataupun sometimes we combine the system dengan storm sewer, combine with the sanitary sewer dan pergi kepada treatment. So we have two type of a system. One is combined and the other one is separate storm sewer system that will go for treatment. So we have wastewater treatment plant before it's safe to bring back to the main water body. Masa ini, flow ini kita kena pastikan bahawa ianya memenuhi standard supaya it can go back to the main water body, to the stream. Sebab dia akan cycle balik untuk dijadikan sebagai water supply. Okay. Then that's on water system. Then we will look at the wastewater, how we manage the wastewater system. So here all the sources from the food industry, from the water from the town, domestic wastewater. Then we have the chemical industry and others industry that will go to municipal sewage treatment plant. We have the process, we will learn the process, how to treat wastewater. Then from the treated effluent, it can also be used for landscape, for irrigation, and also the sludge that come from the treatment of the wastewater. The sludge ni macam lumpur pasir lumpur itu. How we going to distribute the sludge, how we can recycle the sludge for soil conditioner, for fertilizer, and also we can also dump the sludge at the landfill. So sludge ni macam dia adalah particles yang masuk di dalam air. So once we treat the wastewater, kita akan asingkan sludge ini dengan air, dan sludge ini kita kena buat treatment, kita kena treat and kita kena handle. So part of the handling the sludge is to dump at the landfill. So that's the last option, because we produce a lot of sludge, but we need to know how to manage and handle the sludge. So one of the common that treat the sludge is after we dry it out, then we dump at the landfill. Then kita ada juga digunakan sebagai fertilizer, and then put it at the agricultural field. So that is yang merah ini adalah input to the plant, segment plant. Dan yang biru ini adalah where we can dump our sludge. Ini dia punya ni lah, dia punya instead of air, dalam air ini kita akan wastewater daripada wastewater air yang telah treated, kita buat treatment, we will release at the main water body dekat stream, and the leftover juga adalah kita panggil sebagai sludge. So sludge ini yang digunakan di kawasan pertanian, kawasan nak jadikan fertilizer dan sebagainya. Itu adalah sludge. So air kita dah pisahkan, air dan kita dah masukkan ke dalam water body. And some some of the water kita ambil untuk watering the plant, watering the landscape. Kita kita pergi watering, kita pergi bagi air pada dekat landscape area. Kita siram dengan wastewater. Okay, for this week, so when we look at the regulation, now when we look at the standard, so we have an act, kita ada act, kita ada limit, then we know about the pollution and what's the properties and the effect. You all dengar ke? Mungkin ke? Mengganggu tak? Aircon ni sangat mengganggu.
Okey tu.
Okey lah. Boleh ya? Kalau macam kalau boleh kita terang lah. Boleh ya? Cakap betul-betul lah. Terang ya?
Boleh cerita.
Okay. Here, this is the one of the example on the issues, how, so on this, this is one country that they have this, the potential sources of contaminant and how the pathway of the exposure of the contaminant here in Egypt, and how the Red Sea marine ecosystem being affected. So you can see the fate and the transport of chemicals, and the flow of the chemicals you can see in this case study. So here is what you can see, these are the issues that every country face. So memang kita tak boleh lari dengan pollution, memang kita tak boleh lari dengan apa-apa sumber air memang terdedah dengan pollution. That's the risk. And that's the challenge for the engineers, that we always have to look at the development is there. The country needs massive development for the economy and for and so on, but still, we need a water. We need a water supply. We depends on the river. We depends on the surface, surface sources. So those of the river is easily contaminated. So we can see here the all those like water, sedimentation, the plants, the animals will get affected. And then from the industry, you can see the chemical industry, you can see how it can goes to the groundwater, and then this is what you have seen, right? So we need, we as engineer, we will come back to reviews, to act and how we are going to protect our environment. So one main frame of what we have here in Malaysia, we have a parliament that made a law of matters in federal, and also it will goes to the parliament and state in concurrent list. Somehow we also have the state legislatures that make the law and the respect of the matters, but somehow these will flow in together and it will create in the form of the list number 3. So still we sync the federal and also the state, whatever that legislation, the regulations so on, but still we are on the both sides. Okay, and we have very association that we call the Malaysian water association that consists of members from worldwide and also also from the international members that are very good, and also they are in water supply and wastewater industries. So there are a lot of people there. There are suppliers there. There are consultants. There are academicians. Whoever relate to water and wastewater industries. So we are part of MTA, the Malaysian Water Associations. So here we gather all the information, we gather all the knowledge, they share, they work on the strategies, and they help mostly on the what Malaysia needs for water and wastewater industries. So they have this, water industry guide. That's what we use also in our study. We have a 16 section that we can look through. So how these will help to guide for water supply system, yeah, the design or form, and also they have this current research of a design in water supply system. So definitely we will follow, we will read through. Yeah, as engineer we need this guideline. So they also have this span adalah Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Air, adalah badan pengawal seliaan kebangsaan untuk industri air dan pembentungan. So mostly they involve in technical and economic regulatory body, they are regulatory body for the water supply, sewage and sewage services. So you can see here they have this procedure, they have these things that we should put in our procedure, our work in sewage system. Okay. So garis panduan ini memang adalah direka bentuk di bawah satu uh, jabatan ataupun satu body, satu tingkat di mana mereka ini adalah mempunyai authority untuk mengeluar satu garis panduan. So they have the authority, they have the right to produce the guidelines. Bukan saja-saja je, bukan daripada come from somewhere any institution dan sebagainya, but this they have the right to provide the basically pada dasar, pada garis panduan dan sebagainya. They have the authority. Dan also prosedur kerja-kerja pembentungan, jilid 1, jilid 2. So they have varieties of books that we can refer to. We use them a lot. And for another books that we will look at the networks and the pump station. Also we can also refer to span, for the network, civil network, and also the pump station. Okay, this is in the design. And also we also can look for the treatment plants. So they have this integrated and also conceive the whole of water and wastewater services, and and also the design. So we will look at the design overview. So they have the requirements stated, and also what's the guideline, and also special requirement. And of course kita dengan guideline ni dan dasar ni memang kita tak lari sebab we really have to whatever that our design, our construction, whatever that we're going to plan, and also any of the works, we need to have very firm guidelines. So we need to follow exactly, and we need to know how to to look for all the guidelines. Okay. Also for septic tank, this is a component of also in the wastewater. So you need to know how to design the septic tank, the purpose of the septic tank. So the allocation that also the standard of the requirement to have the septic tank. So the size and sort of the selection of the materials you can see in this book. So there is a act dengan adanya akta-akta ini, jika berlaku sebarang kita kata kesalahan dan atau perkara yang tidak dapat diterima pakai oleh pada alam persekitaran, kita ada akta yang telah dinaik untuk jika apa-apa berlaku, kita boleh bawa kes ini ke mahkamah. Kita boleh bawa kes-kes ini untuk dibicarakan sebab kita ada akta. So this is the guide and also the how it can protect the environment. And many of you can see many of the act, the enactment, the peraturan-peraturan scattered clearly in the years and also what kind of the scope and also the topic of the things that they describe, the standard, and also what you can see here is clearly stated at the main concern for every each of the standard is written here, refer to the things that is important in this our environment. Apa-apa yang dimasukkan ke dalam peraturan, enactment ataupun kanun kesesaan telah dinyatakan dengan jelas the konteks konteks dan juga perkara yang merujuk kepada peraturan-peraturan tersebut. So it mentioned clearly, it have to be mentioned clearly so that there is no one against it. Tak ada siapa yang boleh mempersoalkan peraturan-peraturan bahan terlarang, sabun dan sebagainya. So how it will affect our environment. So that's the purpose of enactment, peraturan dan juga akta. Then when we talk about the quality standard, we have range, kalau pH, so kalau drinking water, so we are following the standard, and what we can see it has to be WHO standard, Malaysia standard. We will see that it have to be in this range, color, turbidity, conductivity, temperature, and dissolved solid. So this is stated water quality standard. Then for category 1, kalau yang ni affluent plants, for stagnant water body, yang ni adalah according kategori 1 ni adalah kategori yang after kategori clean water. Kategori 1 adalah kategori clean water, water that has been treated. Kategori 1 ni adalah kategori clean water. So it has two, standard A and standard B. So when we choose it as a standard A, and then we have to follow accordingly. Tapi kita akan tengok lebih detail all this component, the BOD, COD in our next topics. So nak tunjuk kat sini bahawa apa-apa yang kita buat, kita ada dasar, kita ada garis panduan, kita ada peraturan dan kita ada akta dan juga kita ada standard that we need to meet. Itu nak bagi tahu. Okay, for this topic, itu adalah yang paling penting. So the development with international law also not here, kita kata bukan kita sahaja yang memikirkan tentang environment, but actually it is a worldwide discussing on the how to protect our environment and also to look at the concern of the health of the persons. Right? So you can look through the development of international law and how the pollution can impact water and our surrounding. Here, you can make a story from this picture. It started from the rain, then fall on at the industry side, and the rain come from the industry side, and then it will polluted the river as it bring the atmospheric deposition. Dan kalau kita tengok pada run off, bila hujan turun, apa-apa saja yang berada di atas tanah, contohnya pertanian, farming activities, bila hujan turun, hujan ini akan membawa or this fertilizer, pesticide yang mengandungi nitrate dan mengandungi phosphorus, dan mengalir sekali dengan runoff ini dan masuk ke dalam sungai. Dan tak dilupakan the road itself, the transportation, how it bring the gas, the oil with them, then sometimes minyak ini on the roadside can fall into the lake. Dan juga kadang ada oil spill dan sebagainya. Okay, then here ada sewage plant, air yang effluent yang daripada water, wastewater treatment plant, and kalau not being treated well, then the water might goes into the river. Apa lagi kat sini? So we have forest productivity, then we have this this is drinking water. Anything that infiltrate the ground will contaminate the groundwater. So all here can contribute to pollution. So what's the impact? It will cause human health problems in the human health. It will cause a problem in the environment, the air, the quality of the air, and so forth. Boleh buat cerita lah kan. Okay, here why we need a law, why we need guidelines, of course, to protect the human being, our health. So how does the pollution can affect our health? So not only from the water pollution but also the air pollution. Okay. Kalau kedua-kedua ini, nauzubillah lah kan. So here you can see a lot of the impact, how it can affect the human health, right? So anything you like to ask from slide 1? Saya nak buka terminologi jangan terkejut. Saya tengok attendance saya. Okay. So Aiman, Muhammad Aiman, Muhammad Aiman, Muhammad Aiman, Muhammad Aiman.
Ya, doktor.
Nah, saja je panggil Aiman. So basically yang the most important aspect ataupun what you have learned in topic 1 ni, apa yang boleh dikatakan oleh Mama Aiman? Apa Mama Aiman dapat daripada topik 1 ni? Apa yang boleh disimpulkan? Apa yang boleh disimpulkan?
Macam mana basic water kat Malaysia ni diuruskan kot. Kat luar. Yang saya
boleh?
faham macam tu.
Boleh terima, boleh? Okay. Itu kan kita ada standard kan, kita ada guideline kan.
Betul.
Okay. Bagus Aiman. So mendengar lah tu kan, tak adalah puasa kan, mengantuk. Okay. Right. Okay, basically kan kita nampak kat sini Akram dah ni lah. Akram masuk balik. Okay, and then basically dalam topik 1, we know that in Malaysia we have to really care about our environment so that we can have a good quality of water and good quality of air. Then in Malaysia we have standard and guidelines that we use to protect our environment, and then we have a very good system for water and wastewater treatment. Dan juga we have these laws to help us to protect furthermore on the contamination of the water sources dan juga environment. Okay, itu on the topic 1. So we will move to topic 2 for week 2. We will start on the week 2. Nak ambil 5 minit ke atau nak habis awal? 5 minit ke nak habis awal?
Nak habis awal madam.
Okay.
Habis awal.
Okay, balik awal. Nak balik awal kan? Sekejap. Okay, sekejap. Sabar. Tapi nanti tak apalah, yang 1 jam yang 5-6 tu nanti kita akan buat latihan lah. Time tu kita concentrate, kita buat latihan supaya you will help us untuk sustain lah pukul 5 hingga pukul 6 tu. Dan juga to look back what you have learned. I tahu online ni sangat critical online, tapi latihan tu you concentrate masa yang latihan latihan dan juga the apa-apa yang you boleh masa you tengah segar lah. Tak boleh nak elak kadang tertidur mengantuk tu kan, tapi harap ni lah berdaya kental lah. Okay, right. So, we'll move to topik ni. Saya nak masukkan ni sekejap. Okay. So, on our first topic on water treatment, kita masuk water treatment. Yang ni yang week supposed to be in week 2. Now we are week 2. So, sekejap je. So, week 2 hingga week 5 will cover on water treatment. Okay. Dan I akan buat latihan dan sebagainya. Kita saja melihat kepada slide. Tapi kita start dulu dengan slide sebab kita nak tahu content sebelum kita buat latihan. Okay. This is our learning outcome. Again, please draw back your learning outcome after you have learned. Pergi balik dekat learning outcome. Try to answer this question. So, what is the engineering principles? And what will be the treatment system for water supply? And second of the learning outcome is to look on the issues related to water treatment system and the impact to environment, economic and social. So here is 2 main parts in learning outcome in this topic. Dan yang keywords dia adalah here this will involve the calculation and the other part will involve the theory part. Okay? Ada 2 lah, satu calculation dan satu lagi akan ada theory. Dan nampaklah dekat learning outcome tu kalau myself buat soalan tu maksudnya okay, topik ni akan ada calculation dan juga akan ada theory. Okay? So this had I've been I went through juga tadi dah cakap dah what will be we have learned, what will be learned in ECW 567. So we will learn on this water treatment plant dan juga wastewater treatment plant. So here basically overall what we will learn in ECW 567. 567. Sudah 567. Okay. 567. Okay, good. Okay, group discussion then later you can do it on your own. Keywords here is activated sludge. Nanti nampak tak activated sludge dalam water treatment system. You can try to Google and search is there any activated sludge in water treatment system. Nanti you boleh tengok, cuba jawab. Okay. And here, where's the water come from? Our main, in Malaysia, we relied on surface water kat sini. So we have sources of water that come from the rivers, lake or reservoir. And for groundwater, some of the country rely on the groundwater. So they have deep wells and shallow wells. And some of the country, they depend on the rainwater, whereby they collect the rainwater at the open area, or sometimes they collect the rainwater at the top of the building. So the reason why nak mengelakkan contamination. So they place the storage at the building so that you will collect only the rainwater, nak mengelakkan contamination. So also sometimes they place the storage at the open area so that they will not have the consequences of the pollution. So ketiga-tiga comparison antara groundwater, surface water and the rainwater. Here when we look at the parameter here, groundwater will have a constant composition surface water and rainwater. So agak-agaknya kenapa surface water ni dan rainwater ni dia ada variable composition. Apa agak-agaknya? Sebab you have learned this before. Saja je nak tanya, nak kenal-kenal. Putri Akila Ilhami. Tak, ini yang apa? Yang ambil attendance bergulung-gulung lidah. Putri Akila. Putri Akila. Boleh menjawab,
Ya,
boleh
madam.
jawab. Nasib baik Akila. Boleh jawab kenapa surface water dia punya composition, composition of surface water, dia punya dalam composition tu dia varieties as compared to groundwater. Apa agak-agak?
Tak tahu, madam.
Alah belasah je lah. Cepatlah, alah engineer. Bagi je. Variable composition tu maksudnya dalam kalau kita tengok dekat air tu, kan, dekat air tu dia, kalau kita tengok dekat surface water ni sungai, kan, contohlah surface water tu dekat sungai. Kalau kita tengok air sungai tu dia tak colour putih lah, macam air yang kita minum, tak colour putih. Mungkin colour brownish ke, kan. So maksudnya kalau bila colour dia tak sama dengan colour yang selalu kita tengok air tu, itu yang dikata composition tu. Composition tu, variables tu, composition dalam air tu. So apa sebabnya? Itu je.
Sebab air sungai tu dia datang daripada sekeliling.
Dia terdedah kepada kawasan sekeliling. Bila dia terdedah tu, kalau hujan turun pun daripada land itself tu dia boleh bawa surface runoff, daripada situ pun boleh masuk ke dalam sungai. So bila masuk dalam sungai, jadi mengubahlah composition dalam sungai tu. Itu je jawapan sikit-sikit. Right? So that's why you can see the comparison between groundwater. Groundwater ni dia underneath the ground, so dia lebih tidak terdedah kepada kawasan surrounding. Dan dia ni adalah constant position. Surface water dia variable composition sebab dia mudah terdedah, dan juga rainwater juga open, dia open, it's a variable composition. Kadang the rainwater flow around the industrial area, kan, dia dah ada mix of apa kita kata pada air tersebut, kadang air tu ada consist of the chemical composition, itu yang kita ada variable compositions. Dan kalau tengok pada groundwater high mineral content, dan surface water and rainwater dia ada low mineral content. Cuma tanyalah Emilia Natasha.
Ya, madam.
Okay, kenapa groundwater tu dia high minerals? Kenapa groundwater tu dia mineral content tu lebih tinggi? Kenapa?
Sebab dekat base kot, madam.
Dekat bawah tanah kan? Bawah tanah kan air kan dia kan dekat bawah tanah. Groundwater ni kan bawah tanah. So tanah-tanah tu kan air ni dia mengalir dekat dalam tanah ni. So tanah-tanah ni mengandungi banyak mineral. Kan? Banyak mineral. So that's why the groundwater tu dia consist of high mineral content. Sebab dia memang lalu dalam tanah. Tanah itself tu very high mineral content. Surface water tapi masih lagi ada minerals. Dia tak kosong. Kenapa Alis? Muhammad Alis Aziz. Kenapa agaknya Alis? Kenapa surface water tu dia masih lagi ada minerals? Alis, Muhammad Alis Aziz. Ni nama betul kan? Alis. Aziz, Muhammad Ali Aziz. Kenapa agaknya dekat surface water tu low mineral content? Kenapa tak zero je? Muhammad Ali di sana. Muhammad Ali tengah ikut. Berada di Pasar Ramadan. Belum lagi. Pasar Ramadan tak buka lagi. Okay Alis, nanti saya panggil balik. Izmi Haikal.
Saya madam.
Kenapa dekat surface water tu dia low mineral content?
Kenapa dekat surface water dia low mineral content?
Ada juga mineral. Kat mana dapat mineral tu?
Sebab mineral dapat daripada tanah.
Tanah kat mana?
Tanah dekat mana?
Tanah mana? Sungai kan? Ni surface water. Ada low mineral content. Dapat kat
Asal
mana?
sungai.
Kawasan sungai lah, dekat bank kan. Dia ada left and right bank. Lepas tu dia ada bed kan. So bed of the river kan, dekat dasar river. Dan dekat side lah kan, left and right. Tu yang ada variable composition tu.
Oh.
Apa? Sama juga rainwater. Rainwater ni kadang dia fall dekat land. Dia dah ada contact dengan soil and sand dekat on the land. Lepas tu dia kadang dia consist of low minerals. Dan sometimes juga kan benda-benda tu masih lagi ada. Dia dalam water ni masih lagi sometimes dia ada minerals. Okay, turbidity kita tahu. Apakah itu turbidity? Turbidity ni adalah kadar, kita katalah dalam bahasa Melayu ni kadar kekeruhan lah. Ya. So nak tengok air tu keruh ataupun you say that clear. Bila kita tengok dekat cahaya matahari, when you can see between the glass of water tu can pass through. Kalau kita nampak kita hold the glass dekat tempat terang, kalau kita boleh nampak pass through on the other side, maksudnya turbidity itu low. So low turbidity maksudnya dekat groundwater tu dia dah banyak ditapis along the way. So it has the low turbidity. Surface water high turbidity because they exposed to the atmosphere. Dan juga rainwater ni adalah low turbidity. So color juga sama. Color ni rasanya dia dapat kat mana? Kalau air ni color ni dia dapat kat mana? Mina Irdina. Tak ada nama. Mina Irdina. Kalau nama-nama novel-novel ni mesti ambil nama macam ni. Mina Irdina. Mina.
Ya, madam.
Okay, Mina. Mina orang Penang ke? Ya. Okay. So I ada kawan nama Mina. Orang Penang tak? Okay. Color ni. Macam mana color ni? Macam mana air dapat color? Macam mana ayak dapat color macam mana?
Dari lumut dalam air.
Lumut lah. Kata lumut. Dan I pun orang Penang juga. Orang Penang ni kalau I cakap hang tua tu maksudnya apa, janganlah ni. So orang Penang ni dia describe into person jangan fikir apa-apa. Dia macam seronok je. Okay, colour ni sebenarnya daripada minerals. Mineral ni. So colour ni dia yang menyebabkan air dalam sungai tu kadang-kadang dia in brownish in term of colour, macam ayak teh tu. Ayak teh tu maksudnya dia adanya minerals di dalam tu, particles lah, pada particles daripada pasir-pasir, dan ianya menyebabkan ada colour. So one of the things that masuk dalam air yang menyebabkan colour adalah particles. Ada juga yang datang daripada colours, daripada colour itself, daripada industri, macam industri proses kain, dia ada industri buat clothing. Kadang ada sebabkan colouring dekat clothing tu dia menyebabkan colour. Some of things dia naturally, some of the colour tu daripada industri lah. Contohnya. So mostly kalau benda ni masuk dalam sungai, definitely it will change the colour. Dan kalau daripada groundwater ni dia tak ada pendedahan tersebut, that's why it low colour. Dan juga rainwater is colourless, dia nampak as is it lah, so the colour clear. And dissolved oxygen, kalau dalam groundwater very deep down, tak ada, very low or no dissolved oxygen in groundwater. But surface water, we have lot of oxygen, dissolved oxygen present. That's why kita ada ikan, kita ada living things in the river. Dan rainwater, dissolved oxygen present sebab dia melalui atmosphere, melalui keadaan sekeliling. That's why we have dissolved oxygen. Then groundwater, because of the minerals, and we have a high hardness. Surface water, di sedikit saja minerals, they have a low hardness, and rainwater low hardness. So the minerals from the groundwater is high on the ferrum and magnesium. And surface water, we will look we describe the wastewater as a taste and also and smell and the odor. And also the rainwater, we look at the taste and also the color. So here is about the physical description of the groundwater, surface water, and rainwater. This is how we describe. Okay, sekejap. Then, so on the water quality, always we use these three terms. Kita ada terms yang kita gunakan to describe water quality. We as an engineer, we used to describe water quality in terms of this term. Kita banyak pakai term yang sama. We have a physical, chemical, microbiological, and radiological. So this is the term that we use to describe the drinking water. The drinking water, the quality, in terms of the quality. So one is the physical, when we relate the quality of water for domestic use, and also we look physically, kita nampak benda, kita nampak, kita menggunakan diri yang sedia ada, nampak, bau, pegang, then that's why we call as a physical. So when we describe the water as in terms of color, turbidity, temperature, also the taste, and so what you smell it. So we call the physical term. Then second one is a chemical. So we describe the chemical characteristic, by either by observation or by the test, by using a testing any comparative performance to test. And normally we will come up with a description whether the water is hard or soft waters. Okay, is hard or soft waters. So hard ni maksudnya it contain a lot of minerals. That's why we call hard waters. And soft waters means that the normal water that we use. And we will look at, sometimes it will affect during the laundry. Laundry ni macam proses membasuh kain. If we use the hard water, ianya tidak akan menyebabkan ada buih dalam proses membasuh kain. Kalau tak ada buih, jadi apa? Kenapa kita kena ada basuh kain, kena ada buih? Maisarah ni mesti rajin. Maisarah tu
Ya dah.
Maisarah mesti basuh baju kan? Mesti rajin. Kalau basuh baju tak ada buih, apa jadi?
Macam tak bersih lah.
Tak bersih lah. Buih tu apa function dia?
Buih tu nak hilangkan kekotoran dekat baju.
Buih tu ada dalam sekeliling buih tu, dia ada ion, dia ada charge, charge. So dalam dekat buih tu dia ada negative charge. Dia design chemical tu, dia tengok pada ion-ion ni dia ada negative and positive charge. Dekat buih ni dia negatif. Dekat kain tu, dekat kotoran-kotoran tu dia positif, kotoran-kotoran tu positif. So buih ni dia akan naturally dia akan pergi dekat kotoran ni, dia akan pick up all those kotoran ni, dan dia akan flow out daripada pembersihan itu, macam kita proses membasuh kain lah, kita mengeluarkan air. Itu proses dia. That's why dalam proses, dalam kalau tengok iklan-iklan tu, kalau you nampak iklan tu, you nampak dia punya dirt dan juga sabun ni, dia punya chemical reaction between sabun dengan juga dirt, kotoran tu tadi. So dia ada charge. Ada je lah contoh. Then we can describe the water as a microbiological when we look at the microbe, the agent that the kita kata yang bahaya lah, seperti penyakit taun dan sebagainya that come from the microbe, dan how this will affect the physical and the chemical characteristic of water. And then on the last part is hydrological. So sometimes our plant, dia water treatment plant ini dekat dengan industri yang ada berbentuk nuklear, ada proses nuklear dan sebagainya. Dekat radioactive substance. Okay, then here to describe more on the physical characteristics. So we have turbidity, we have color, we have taste, and when we look at the smell and temperature. So basically, turbidity it depends on what's in the water. Sometimes we have clay, we have silts, we have fine organic materials in water. It will change the turbidity rate, and it measure turbidity in turbidity unit. Okay. And color, so any dissolved organic material from the decaying vegetation or any inorganic matter like from the silt and the sand. Somehow it does not affect the health, but we don't want it. We want the water to have color. Then the taste and the smell, so here can come from the inorganic salts or the mineral itself, the dissolved oxygen, any foreign matter, the organic compound. So we will not let it in the water. We have to check on the taste and also the smell, and the temperature is according to the preferred, according to 10 to 15 degrees, just to ensure that the quality of water that we have is in a good state. Chemical, here we look at the chloride. Chloride, we use it every day dalam ubat gigi, chloride. And they have this acceptable range. Then the iron, that sometimes it can give us the brownish color during launder, masa membasuh kain. Then we have the lead, sometimes from the mineral itself can cause damage health. Manganese, sodium, sulfate, ni semua dalam minerals, minerals yang naturally ada. Cuma dia punya amount saja yang allowable, kita kata not excessive, tidak melebihi. And the zinc that found in natural waters, arsenic yang berbahaya, naturally found, tapi kadang-kadang bila ianya berlebihan boleh menyebabkan bahaya, dan sometimes arsenic ini ada juga di dalam pesticide. Toxic inorganic substance like nitrate that come from the ferticide and fertilizer, sometimes that also can cause damage to the health. Contoh ammonia, that chemical found in the waste food processing, and the last one is the toxic organic substance datang daripada pesticide, daripada insecticide, solvent dan sebagainya. Okay, microbiological characteristic, we look at the pathogens, the harmful organism that give us the disease. We look at the virus, the bacteria, protozoa. Part two, we have the worms, and also we used to call it in water. The number that the testing that we use to test the wastewater is whereby we look at the number of microorganisms in the wastewater sample, whereby we call it as a coliform group. We call it E. coli. We check on the E. coli numbers. E. coli test in the wastewater to look at the amount of E. coli. So this is a harmful disease, harmful bacteria. And the total coliform actually cover both. It cover the E. coli and also the whatever that the biological contaminant is the best indicator of the biological contaminant in the water. So we use this test, E. coli test. Radiological characteristic, if we have a treatment plant very near to nuclear industries, sometimes can radiate and pollute the water because of the radiation. Then here on the water quality standard for raw and drinking water, raw ni maksudnya belum proses, belum diproses. Dan after process drinking water in Malaysia, we have this is stated by Ministry of Health. So this is raw water quality guideline. Contoh contoh kita ambil satu, total coliform kat sini 500 yang bakteria tu tadi. After we treat the water, kalau tengok pada standard, this is treated, so maksudnya lepas treated dia kena kosong lah, absent contoh lah. So we have a group that we will check, group 1 on the parameters, group 2 on the chemical side of water, in the water. And then last one, we also have we also go into the group up to group 4 and 5, 3, 4 sampai group 4, ada group 4. Okay. Group 1, group 2, 3 and 4. So here we look at the chloroform content. Nanti ada termasuklah dalam topik ini nanti. So water quality standard US, but not so much different from us. But the difference is where the sources of water intake. So here in Malaysia, we use surface water, but some of other countries, they use the water, sources water that come from groundwater. So groundwater, so that's why the water quality standard might be differ a little bit due to the sources of water that come from. Okay, so I think I can stop here. So treatment system, we can continue tomorrow with the treatment system. Hari ni tengok pada pengenalan on our course and what will be in the water. So kalau nak tengok parameter, so parameter yang kita tengok adalah physical, chemical, microbiological and radiological. Okay, so we stop here dan kita sambung dengan treatment esok insyaAllah. Okay, boleh? Buat?
Ya, ya ada.
Belajar lagi, tak nak berhenti.
Doktor,
Alright.
slide yang ni dapat dekat mana? You future ke?
Dalam future ada. Kalau I update pun I akan update, I akan letak macam barulah ada dia dalam tu. Cuma lesson plan tu I akan update yang baru lah. Tapi here I dah yang I dah update dah, I dah letak lah dalam new future insyaAllah. I dah letak dalam new future lah. Selalunya update I letak dalam new future, sometimes I share dalam WhatsApp. Tapi yang ni dah ada dalam new future. Kalau yang terbaru, I dah share dekat WhatsApp. Kalau tak ada, bagi tahu nanti I akan updatekan. Boleh Anis?
Okey doktor.
Okay. Ini masak apa? Kerja Anis masak apa?
Tak masak.
Apa? Tak masak tu sebab dia, Anis concentrate belajar. Ni dekat hostel ke?
Dekat rumah.
Dekat rumah? Okay. So I can see dalam kampus pun banyak kan tempat makan dijual kan. Okay. So take your time. Okay. Apa-apa persoalan dan pertanyaan dan sebagainya, you can ask me, PM me dan sebagainya. Apa-apa you need, you can text me. Okay, kalau tak ada apa-apa, we can stop now. You can proceed with mengaji Al-Quran dan sebagainya lah. Okay, so anything else? Attendance jangan lupa, attendance masuk ke attendance, jangan lupa. Kalau tak ada apa-apa, I release the class as for now. So have a good buka puasa time dan juga selamat membeli belah. Jaga SOP. Okay? So have a good buka puasa time. Saya rasa semua ni okay. Right, so jangan lupa attendance, right? Please masuk ke attendance under today. Okay, dah tak apa-apa, okey lah kot. Akram pun dah ni dah, Akram pun dah tak larat kot. Alis Aziz ada lagi tadi. Alis Aziz. Cuba dia pakai nama lain. Ada.
Ada madam.
Tak apa, tadi I panggil. Okay. So, jumpa lagi insyaAllah esok. Okay. Dan terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih doktor.
Doktor. Waalaikumsalam.
Terima kasih doktor.
Thank you, doktor. Thank you,